What's good, everybody? Welcome to Whole Views. Thank you for clicking that thumbnail. My name is Corey. Today, we're going to be talking about the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare. So, question for today's video is, why do you think the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare bombed at the box office? I have a theory that I'm going to throw out here, but I want to know what y'all think. So, this movie is directed by Guy Ritchie. It's a Guy Ritchie film that doesn't have many Guy Ritchie isms in it. If you remember, I reviewed The Covenant by Guy Ritchie in 2023. I enjoyed that one, thought it was really good. It was one that didn't really feel like a Guy Ritchie film either, because there are certain Guy Ritchie isms that happen and you could kind of identify them with him. And so in this one, you don't really have any of that. There's no like reveals done by any characters. Us as audience members, there's nothing big that's revealed to us that happened like previously or behind the scenes. And that tends to be things that kind of happen in his films. There's nothing like that that happens in this one. The most Guy Ritchie thing about this film is that it's a war movie, but it feels like a heist movie. I also really like the fact that they are upfront about this movie taking place in real life, and they are doing an exaggerated version of that. Like, they're very upfront about it. If you watch through the credits, Alan Richten's character is shown in the credits, and when you see the real life version of that character as opposed to what you saw in the movie, it's like it's very on display here that we're going with the exaggerated versions of everybody. But still, it was cool to know that this takes place in some form of reality. We just kind of going over the top with it, and the over the top nature of it was felt throughout. Now, I'm not calling this movie perfect, but when we talk about the movie, there's not much that you can really critique. It felt good. It was very entertaining. All the performances were good. The dialogue seems appropriate. Everything felt right about it. So why didn't it make a bunch of money? My theory is Henry Cavill. Henry Cavill in this movie is put into a pretty unique situation, one that we don't normally see him in. In the last few years, Henry Cavill has not been the leader of a group in a movie. In this film, he was the leader of the group and like the captain or the maestro. He kind of makes everything happen. Looking at the marketing and watching the movie, it really feels like everything hinged on his charisma, which to me is possibly the problem. And listen, before I start on Henry Cavill, I do want to make note. The movie had a lot of competition at the box office when it was in its run. It was going up against Godzilla vs. Kong, which made a bunch of money, and this one just didn't have the marketing that that one had. But honestly, if I'm being honest, the competition is not as important as I feel like Henry Cavill is. I feel like Henry Cavill is not the draw that Hollywood expects him to be consistently. We can go back to his run as Superman. We know that run is now over, but if you look at it, all of Henry Cavill's Superman like appearances, movies where he helmed it as Superman and he had major screen time, those films were disappointing box office wise. Now listen, I really enjoyed Man of Steel. I feel like it was basically perfect. Justice League with Joss Whedon, not great. Zack Snyder's Justice League, a bit better. Batman versus Superman, way too convoluted for general audiences to like watch it and enjoy it. It just didn't reach the expectations that it was supposed to reach. You got Batman and Superman. You're supposed to make a certain dollar amount. You didn't get close. And I feel like all those things are still kind of lingering in audiences' minds. And Henry Cavill as a person just does not get butts in seats. But that's actually a point that we could talk about with a whole bunch of people. Now, I'm also trying to put a little bit of respect on Henry Cavill's name because I enjoy his work regardless of the box office that it makes, and I really like him in this movie. But I do have to admit that his Superman run really kind of underperformed, and this movie also kind of underperformed. Now, when we look at his resume, we got to go all the way back to, I believe, 2015 is when you have The Man from U.N.C.L.E. That was a box office success. You have Immortals, which is the first film I really noticed Henry Cavill in. Which was a big box office success at that time as well. Now, that's a long time ago for both of those films. And now his draw, his star power does not seem to be something that can carry a film. And it looks like his star power is what they expected to carry this film. And it just didn't. I might be wrong, but I do want to know your thoughts. Do you think they put too much like stock in Henry Cavill and expected him and his presence to carry the film? I feel like they did. I feel like that was the misstep. and things worked out how they worked out. But that's not saying that the movie wasn't good, because I do feel like it was very good, highly entertaining. Let me know your thoughts if you choose to do so in the comment section, and thank you so much if you watched thus far. That's all we got for this one. Enjoy yourself, guard your heart, and go watch something good.